How to learn English. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Maria. She lived in a small town where not many people spoke English. Maria always dreamed of traveling the world, meeting new people, and learning about different cultures. But to do this, she needed to learn English. She had heard that English was spoken everywhere and that it could open doors to new opportunities. Maria was very excited about learning English, but she didn't know where to start. One day, while walking in the town market, she met an old man who had traveled to many countries. He spoke many languages, including English. Maria asked him, "Sir, can you teach me how to learn English?" The old man smiled and said, "Learning English is not difficult if you are patient and practice every day. I can give you some tips, but remember, the most important thing is to enjoy the process." Maria listened carefully as the old man began to share his advice. First, the old man said, "You need to listen to English every day. Listening is the key to understanding the language. You can watch English movies, listen to songs, or even find English videos online. The more you listen, the more you will get used to the sounds and the rhythm of the language." Maria nodded, thinking about how she could start by watching her favorite shows with English subtitles. Second, the man continued, "You must speak as much as possible. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. When I first learned English, I made many mistakes, but I didn't stop. I spoke with my friends, with tourists, and even with myself when no one was around. The more you speak, the more confident you will become." Maria smiled, remembering how shy she felt speaking in English at school. But now she realized that making mistakes was part of learning. Third, the man said, "You should read in English. Start with simple books, short stories, or even news articles. Reading will help you learn new words and understand how sentences are made. When you see a new word, write it down and look it up later. Soon, you will have a notebook full of new words to practice." Maria loved reading, so this idea excited her. She thought about going to the library and finding easy books in English. Lastly, the old man said, "Practice writing. Write about your day, your dreams, or even the story of your town. Writing will help you remember the new words you learn, and it will also improve your grammar. The more you write, the better you will get." Maria felt inspired by the old man's advice, but she had one more question. "How long will it take me to learn English?" she asked. The old man smiled and replied, "It depends on you. If you practice every day and enjoy the process, you will learn faster than you think. Remember, it's not a race. Take your time and have fun with it." That evening, Maria went home and made a plan. She decided to listen to English music for 30 minutes each day, speak with her friends in English once a week, read a simple English story every weekend, and write in her journal at least 3 times a week. As the days passed, Maria began to see improvement. At first, she could only understand a few words in the songs she listened to, but soon she started to understand whole sentences. Speaking was still difficult, but she didn't feel as shy anymore. Her friends encouraged her, and they even started learning with her. Maria's journey to learn English had just begun, but she was no longer afraid. She knew that with hard work and patience, she would achieve her dream. Maria's journey to learn English continued, and with each passing week, she became more confident. However, there were still challenges along the way. One day, Maria was invited to an English club in a nearby city. She was excited but also nervous because she had never spoken English with strangers before. The thought of making mistakes in front of others scared her. When she arrived at the club, Maria saw many people her age who were also learning English. The group leader, Emma, welcomed her and said, "Don't worry, Maria. We are all learning here, and mistakes are part of the process." Hearing this made Maria feel a little better. During the club meeting, everyone had to introduce themselves in English. When it was Maria's turn, she hesitated for a moment, but then remembered what the old man had told her: mistakes are okay. She stood up and said, "Hello, my name is Maria. I am from a small town, and I'm learning English because I want to travel the world." Everyone clapped, and Maria felt a rush of happiness. She had done it. Even though her English was not perfect, she had spoken in front of the group. After the introductions, they played games to practice new words and had conversations in pairs. Maria enjoyed every moment and made new friends who were also learning. She realized that practicing with others made learning English more fun and less scary. As Maria's confidence grew, she decided to challenge herself even more. She found a pen pal from another country through an online website. His name was Jack, and he was from Australia. They started writing emails to each other in English. At first, it took Maria a long time to write a single message because she wanted to make sure every sentence was correct. But Jack was kind and told her, "Don't worry too much about being perfect. I make mistakes too when I learn a new language." With Jack's encouragement, Maria relaxed and wrote more often. Their conversations helped her not only learn new words, but also understand different cultures. Jack told her about life in Australia, and Maria shared stories about her town and her dreams of traveling. She learned that English was not just about words and grammar, it was about connecting with people. Months passed, and Maria continued her routine of listening, speaking, reading, and writing. She still had days when English felt hard, especially when she didn't understand something or when she made a big mistake in speaking. But every time she felt frustrated, she reminded herself of her goals and the advice from the old man. One day, Maria decided to visit the old man to tell him about her progress. She found him sitting in the same spot in the market, reading a book in English. Maria smiled and said, "Thank you for your advice. I have been practicing every day, and I feel much more confident now." The old man looked up and smiled. "I am happy to hear that, Maria, but remember, learning never stops. Even now, I continue to practice new languages. The more you learn, the more doors will open for you." Maria knew he was right. She had come a long way, but she still had much to learn. She asked him, "What should I do next to improve my English?" The old man thought for a moment and said, "Now that you are comfortable with the basics, it's time to challenge yourself even more. Try speaking with native speakers whenever you can. If you can't meet them in person, find them online. Also, don't just learn from books. Learn from real life, watch English news, read magazines, or even cook a recipe in English." Maria was excited to take on these new challenges. She thanked the old man and promised to keep learning. As she walked home, Maria realized how much her life had changed since she started learning English. She felt more confident, more curious, and more connected to the world. She wasn't just learning a language, she was growing as a person. In the months that followed, Maria continued to push herself. She found online groups where she could talk to native English speakers, watched English TV shows without subtitles, and even started writing her own short stories in English. Her friends noticed her progress and were inspired by her dedication. 1 year later, Maria got her dream opportunity. There was a chance to work as a tour guide for foreign visitors in her town. The job required someone who could speak good English, and Maria was the perfect fit. She applied for the job, and after an interview in English, she was hired. Maria's journey from a beginner English learner to a confident speaker had taken time, but she had achieved her goal. She now helped tourists from all over the world explore her beautiful town using the English she had worked so hard to learn. Maria's story is a reminder that learning English, or any language, is not about being perfect from the start. It's about patience, practice, and enjoying the process. With every mistake, you get closer to fluency. And just like Maria, anyone can learn English if they have the determination to keep going.